What's up, Bulls Nation? This is the Bloody Horns podcast. I'm your host, Justin. And today, man, yesterday, I went to the Timberwolf Thunder game. Got to watch SGA versus Ant in person. If you get a chance, go see both of them in person. You know, I've seen Ant in person probably 25 times. Since the Timberwolves drafted him. I'm a huge basketball fan, so I'm trying to go to games as much as possible just to see it in person. I've seen Ant a bunch, and trust me, it never gets old. Just the way he moves, the athleticism to his game, never gets old. He didn't really have a good game last night, but he still did things that just make you say, damn, nobody else in the league can really do something like that. And SGA, this was my first time seeing him in person. If you get a chance to see that dude, go watch him because it's amazing. You'll look up at the scoreboard, you'll be like, he's at 20 points. It hasn't felt like he's just so smooth with his scoring. He's got a little herky-jerkiness to his game. I call it a Tracy McGrady level of smoothness to his game with the way he plays, and he's just always playing at his pace. He's never rushed. He's the best in the league, I think, at controlling the pace of the game. I think he's the best guard in the NBA. So watched that game, came home, watched the replay of the Bulls broadcast, and there, you know, Derrick Rose, he didn't play, but he was in town, being that he's on the Grizzlies, and they're cutting to flashbacks of him, and they're showing Joe, and man, it just made me kind of sad, like when are the Bulls going to get that transcendent superstar again? You know, Michael Jordan, obviously, we struck gold with him back in the 80s. Transcendent superstar. When he's on your team, you know you're right. Derrick Rose, we struck gold with him in that 2008 draft. He comes to the team right away. We're a playoff team. Within 3 years, he has us in the conference finals. He's winning the MVP. Who knows what his career trajectory looks like if he doesn't get hurt? There's a good chance he's a transcendent, all-time, just talking about the Steph Curry before Steph Curry, where he comes in and he takes the league by storm. Steph Curry's ascension might have never happened if Derrick Rose's decline doesn't happen, if Derrick Rose's injury doesn't happen. So it's just sad to think about, because right now where the Bulls are, it's kind of basketball purgatory. You know, we got nice pieces on the roster. The roster is scrapping back towards that 500 mark. The guys last night, it looked like they were having fun playing with each other. So, but you look at the pieces, you know, Zach LaVine's not a transcendent superstar. I love Kobe White, definitely not a transcendent superstar. DeMar DeRozan, so on and so forth. And it's kind of, when you see a transcendent superstar in person, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like Anthony Edwards, or you remember the times that you had one on your team, like with Derrick Rose, when you realize that you're really not close to finding that level player again, it's kind of depressing, to be honest. And those players, they're hard to find, right? On my drive home last night, I was thinking about it, and I was like, really, the Timberwolves have had two of those players. They had Kevin Garnett, and now they have Anthony Edwards. But in between, that's a long time in between finding that type of transcendent, true superstar athlete. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they had Kevin Durant, and then they had Shai. It's a long time in between. You know, I don't think Russell Westbrook quite ever got to that transcendent superstar stage of his career, so I don't throw him in that category. Very similar to the Bulls. You know, we had Derrick Rose, and now it's been, you know, what's it been? It's been damn near, I mean, it's been over 10 years since his injury, so it's been a while. And we had Jimmy Butler, but I don't think Jimmy Butler quite reached that peak of transcendent superstar. Certainly not with the Chicago Bulls. Even right now at his peak, yes, he's dragged the Heat to the finals 2 times. But when it's all said and done, I just think Shai and Anthony Edwards are going to end up as higher all-time players than what Jimmy Butler is. I think they just have a certain potential to hit a certain ceiling that the Jimmy Butlers, the Russell Westbrooks of the world just can't hit. So to find those transcendent superstars, those game-changing superstars, it's rare, man. You know, I don't know, you know, Anthony Edwards, I think he's in that category. I think Paulo Banchero's knocking on the door of being in that category. I'm not ready to put Wemby in that category quite yet. I just haven't seen enough from him this year as a rookie, but he might prove me wrong. But you look throughout the league, and there's not a lot of those guys that come in and just right away you know that your franchise is good. And the Chicago Bulls, when you look around the league, they're about as far away from finding that type of guy as possible. So I'm not a tank for the future type of guy. I'm not one of those people, because these drafts coming up, you know, people are high on Cooper Flag in a couple years. I don't know if he's going to be truly a transcendent type talent like that, but the Bulls, man, it's it makes you wonder, like, what do you do going forward? Because your best path to sustain success over a long period of time is finding a transcendent superstar like that. And the Chicago Bulls, they're just not really close to being in that conversation. And there's not a lot of them. Even when you talk trade market, there's not really a lot of them in the league. You know, Kevin Durant was a transcendent superstar. That time has passed in his life. I don't know if Devin Booker is going to quite reach that transcendent superstar ability in his league. You know, Joel Embiid is that. Nikola Jokic is that. Giannis is that. LeBron James was that. He's not that anymore. Anthony Davis never reached that high peak of his career. James Harden, similar to what I said about Russell Westbrook, I don't think he quite reached that. Kawhi Leonard was that. Paul George was not that. So you look around the league, and we have a lot of stars, but a transcendent superstar, not a lot of those type of guys. And the Bulls, they're pretty far away from ever finding one. It's just, watching that game last night, man, it was fun. It was great to be there, great to be in that atmosphere. I was only about 8 rows up, so I got to see everything in person. And Chet, man, you see Chet in person. I've now seen Wemby in person, and then I saw Chet in person. Chet's a lot more impressive in person than Wemby. He understands the game a little bit more at this stage than Wemby does. So watch out. The Thunder, they're gonna be killers for a long time. But being that close to the game and seeing those two going at it, man, it just made me want the Bulls to get a player like that. That's all I really want. But I'm going to have a podcast dropping a little bit later today. We're going to deep dive the Arturas Karnišovas and Mark Eversley era. I'm going to go through transaction by transaction. We're going to deep dive all of it, give it a grade. If you guys aren't subscribing, hit that subscribe button on here. If you're not following on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all the same, at Horns Bloody. Shoot me a follow. Let's talk hoops. Doesn't need to be Bulls hoops. I just like talking hoops. Take it easy, guys. Like I said, that pod's dropping later today.